Nick, can you believe we're only 10 days away from the April 2nd blowout for Switch 2? Isn't that nuts?
It's insane. It's going to be here in a blink of an eye. And then, who knows, we're not going to be doing this for maybe another 10 years until the next Nintendo console.
That's crazy. I don't know if I can go another 10 years for another system, but, maybe we can. In any case, speaking of time going by quickly, I want to make these next 10 days count, because every day we're playing a different discussion or feature about the Switch 2, such as this one in which we're asking, should achievements finally come to Switch 2? Now, we'll get back to that in just a quick second, but for the other features, they'll have a different topic each and every day, including some surprise guests along the way. So it should be a lot of fun as we spend these next 10 days discussing everything we can think of about the Switch 2 before the official blowout on April 2nd. But let's get back to that question that I asked, being, should achievements finally come to a Nintendo platform starting with the Switch 2, of course. This is a good opportunity for them to really expand what the system is capable of, and that might finally be delivering on a system the competitors have had for, what, 15 years now at this point? Maybe longer? I think almost 20 years at this point. It's crazy. So this is a question I myself have grappled with a bit. So we'll start off with you here though, Nick. Should Nintendo finally relent and allow achievements on their system, maybe in their own unique Nintendo weird way?
Yeah, short answer, yes. I really think they should come, because it brings, I want to say, more replayability to these games. And I'll touch up on something that I think one of the directions they can go in a little bit later in this video. But like I said, short answer, yes. I think they should come to Switch 2.
I hesitate in this, but I think I agree with you, Nick. I think it's about time. I've kind of famously been a bit of a disliker of the achievement and platform or platinum or trophy idea in general.
Trophies,
just because I felt like, I've known people who would play all the way through a game that they hated, just to, increase that artificial number, right? At the same time, there have been a few instances in which I'm like, man, I kind of wish there were achievements here, or Nintendo's version of it, whatever it is. And I think that's why it appeals to me. One, I think parity with the other systems would be good, but two, I think having Nintendo put their own unique spin on it, because I'm sure they could make for a really compelling feature. And so I have softened on this over the years. I say bring it. Let's bring on the Nintendo achievements or whatever they is. And I think I know exactly what those could be. But before we get to that, Nick, I just want to, as you who have been historically a fan of achievements and trophies, what is about them that you like and you think would benefit the Nintendo platform?
So, speaking on the Switch 2 and why I love trophies or achievements in the past on other platforms, I think it can give replayability to older titles.
Yeah.
And what the potential of the Switch 2 has is bringing these older Switch titles and making them run better. Like, we did see that speculation on the Xenoblade 2 running at 60 frames on the Switch 2. So if that's possible with some other games, such as like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, running a little bit better, but also tying in some form of trophies for those older games, yeah, I would definitely be down to play those games again for the up-res or for that resolution, that capability of it running on the Switch 2, along with some, I guess, benefits to me playing the game over again, like achievements.
Honestly, I think that's where I'm coming from now, too. There have been so many times where I've started replaying a game, like on NSO, for instance, like one of those retro games, or even some remasters or remakes. And, it's like, I want to play more, but it's just like, I have so much like competing for my time and attention. It's like, do I really want to spend more time with a game I've already beaten multiple times before, even if I know I would enjoy it? And there have been, this is a little weird, but there have been times where, like, I think as you're hinting at, like, if I had that little extra push, that little extra incentive to finish a game I've already completed before, I think I would enjoy that. Even if I before complained about how I had friends that would play games they hated, that's not what I want. I just want that little extra inertia or reason to finish a game I already have. And I think that could honestly give so much more value. Like, if they added it to the NSO games, oh my god, you would have, I think you would add so much more value easily right there to not only encourage people to like revisit games they already have, but maybe even encourage them to revisit them in new ways they never had before. Throw in new types of challenges, like, can you beat Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past with only your Master Sword or particular items, or can you make it through Super Mario World on one life? Things like that, I think that would be really compelling.
Yeah, like you said, with NSO and older titles, like I revisit Star Fox 64 all the time. It's one of my favorite games to play. But I've been it so many times, and I revisited all those different routes. And it's like when I play, I'm just playing because I love this game. But I want a new form of challenge, like you said, maybe maybe fly or complete the whole stage without using any bombs or something like that. Like something small little challenges that will make it memorable. Me playing the game over and over again.
See, that's it exactly. Like I back in the day, I loved playing Star Fox 64. I mean, I still enjoy it, of course. But these days, I'm never going for those like gold medals again. Like I was ace at that back in my day, right? But at the same time, I wouldn't be opposed to being incentivized to do it if I would get some kind of benefit for it, such as the again, wherever Nintendo's achievement or trophy systems. I keep on calling them platinum. I've never earned a platinum trophy in my life. In fact, if you look at my PlayStation Score, my trophy number is pathetic.
Does it just say 0?
Yeah, basically 0. I've never intentionally gone out of my way on any modern game in the last 15 years for achievements or trophies. The only exception, which is what led me to the kind of retro/remaster idea, is Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie on Xbox Live Arcade.
Oh, they already have those.
Exactly.
The trophies, right? The achievements.
Right. They added to an old-style game that is still great, but on its own, and gave me that extra little push to go the distance, if you will. And that's why I think Nintendo could really benefit from it in this way. But at the same time, I'm not against them being added to newer games as well. In fact, I'm sure they would have to if they brought such a system to the platform. But I think one key point for me is it has to be optional, both for third parties and also for even Nintendo's own first parties. Because here's the thing. Something else I realized, Nintendo's already been doing their own achievement system. The thing is, it just hasn't been on a universal scale, which is ironic given one of the points I'll be bringing up in a second here. Because, they've had, stamps in Super Mario 3D World, or I think Nintendo Land and other games on the Wii U, in which you could use those stamps on messages and send them to other people. The problem is they were always self-contained to their own games. So what they could do is take that very idea and broaden it to the entire OS, where maybe you can send messages to a friend with these little stamps you've collected from any game, not just the one you're playing currently. And on top of that, maybe you can even have your own little profile card or your Nintendo ID or whatever, where you can pin your favorite, stamps or medals, whatever it is you get, to your card, right? And I see that, I'm like, that is such a good idea, especially because they've been doing that even, in recent days too, such as the universal thing I hinted at, Super Nintendo World. On the Mario Kart ride, you can unlock achievements on your phone app, which you can't really do anything with. They're basically blocked to the app as far as I know. And that'd be so cool if I could use those stamps from the real life Super Nintendo World in my Switch 2 messages or on my Nintendo ID. Wouldn't that be cool?
That would be perfect. And the thing is, I didn't even know that was a function at Super Nintendo World. I've been on the ride 3 times. I had no idea that was an option. So, if I can put that on my profile, showcasing that I went to Super Nintendo World, just to showcase to my friends, that would be awesome. And I do that a lot on PlayStation. If I see a friend pop on, I get the notification. I click the home button. I'll just send them a random message. But like you said, with stickers or stuff, even on PlayStation, they have, little cute emotes that are tailor-made to specific games. They have them for Last of Us. They have them for God of War. And there's such little goofy emotes. It's Kratos giving Atreus a hug, or looking grumpy, or looking happy. If I can get that with Mario or Star Fox characters or Pokemon characters just to send to my friends, that would make that online experience so much better.
It really would, yeah. I are those locked to trophies in that case, or do you just get them for playing the game?
You just get them. You don't even have to play the game. They're just given to you.
Yeah.
But if you tie that into the Nintendo aspect of oh, you played this game, you unlocked this trophy, you can send it to a friend. Maybe your friend's curious and be like, oh, how did you get that? Oh, I unlocked it through X, Y, and Z.
Exactly. That's so genius, that could almost bring back an element of the schoolyard that only people as old as me remember, before the internet age, where you're talking with others, hey, how did you get that? They could do the thing where I think as Xbox and PlayStation already do to some extent, where some achievements are hidden, some aren't, and of course they'll be listed online at some point. But I think it'd be fun if with there being these actual rewards to them, it might encourage more chatter among your friends, and I think that'd be really cool. It's especially with Nintendo getting in more on the smartphone side of things, not just within games but apps in general. It'd be neat if I could use those icons in those apps as well. I could maybe modify my Nintendo profile on my phone, which then shows up on Switch too.
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't know if I said this before, but when I go online to play any of these consoles, like PlayStation, Steam Deck, or even my Switch, like the first thing I do is I check what my friends are doing. I see what they're playing. I go to their trophies list. But when you're on Switch, the only thing you can see is the amount of time they played on games, like their past 10 or 20 games, and that's it. I wish there was a little bit more customization there to actually get a better experience or a better insight to see what my friends are actually playing.
Speaking of customizations, Nintendo could do something crazy, and again, I have not been paying attention to achievements or trophies in 15 years, so maybe the other systems have already done this. But what if you actually got like an actual value out of it? Not necessarily cash in for games, as amazing that would be, but maybe in those digital rewards that Nintendo already has, like new wallpapers, new themes for your Switch 2. You know, things like that, things that don't really cost Nintendo much money, but things that would have meaning to us. You know?
Yeah, so at least on the PlayStation side, they started like the PlayStation Stars program. I think this is the one I'm talking about. But essentially, like if you're playing a specific game, or they might have a challenge that might be like, oh, start up Monster Hunter Wilds, or play one of the top requested games or most popular games for that month. And you actually get like these gold coins or currency that could be used towards purchasing a digital game or getting like credit towards another game. So, and I tell my friends that all the time because I don't think people think or realize that much, that if you're just playing a game or if you buy a digital game, that you get credit that you can use on something else for your account.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's great. And I think, doesn't even Nintendo do this to an extent already through their weird, almost achievement-like rewards they have in the NSO app, but they're only purely based on how long you've played a game for, or how many times you start a game, I think. You know, things like that. They're not actual achievements. They're just Nintendo's lazy way of trying to encourage people to open a game, you know?
Yeah, and that's I'm not the biggest fan of that, because it might be like, oh look, here's a new Mario Kart, Super Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo stickers, but it's like, oh, play Mario Kart or play Super Mario Kart for like 5 minutes. It's like, wait, I already put like 10 hours into it. Why do I just need to boot it up and play it again? It's weird stuff like that I'm like, come on, just let me get these stickers so I can make a new icon.
Exactly, and again, the fact that they already have these semi-achievement systems already. Sorry.
I was saying like incentives for you to get these things.
Right,
like
exactly.
You said,
the fact that they already have things like that, including in some of their own games already, even though you don't really unlock anything for it. Like Metroid Prime 3 even, it's going back a ways now. But they had a straight-up achievement system in that too, but again, it meant nothing outside that game. Smash Brothers is another one that famously has their own form of achievements, basically. So I think it would marry really well with the games that are already doing that. And again, I don't think every game necessarily needs achievements, or whatever Nintendo's system is, stamps, you know, badges, pins, whatever it is. But I think it'd be cool to have it when it is applicable, because, you know, with it being locked to one game, it's like, is it even worth it? Sometimes it is, and I actually like it when it fits in well. Kirby Air Ride handled this brilliantly, but it'd be cool if it also been something outside those games too.
Yeah, like you said, Kirby Air Ride has those little, and I think it's in Kid Icarus. It's, I guess, the Sakurai stamp of approval, and it's not even that. It's like those little like slots that you get, or it shows like the bigger picture. But like, speaking of newer games, or not a newer game, older game that has achievements, I've been playing Xenoblade for a couple hours, and at the top left of the screen, it just shows a little achievement. It's like, well, where is this? Like, why isn't this on my profile? It's only in this game. Like, I can't show this to my friends outside of it.
Yeah, who cares? Exactly. Who
cares,
exactly. Right?
Who cares?
Especially at Switch 2, if they end up leaning more in a social direction, again, the timing would be so perfect for this. If that friend list actually has value, if there's some kind of community-based feature, as that C button maybe could possibly be, or that button is, I think the timing is now. And that would be, you know, not obviously a main reason to upgrade, but another factor to upgrade, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like, they'll have these achievements tied to the Switch 2, and like you said, it might give you an incentive. It's like, oh, I could play this game on my Switch 1. Like, maybe it is something like Metroid Prime 4 that's coming out for both. It's like, oh, I can play this on my Switch 1, but it doesn't have X, Y, and Z that's on Switch 2. Maybe the mouse controls, maybe the achievements, maybe it's running at 60 frames. Like, it's just small incentives that can push you to buy the next platform for yourself. But I had another point that I wanted to bring up. Do you think that the achievements or trophy systems could alter the way developers at Nintendo make their games? Because, for example, like if we look at something like Breath of the Wild, do you think they would really make one of the achievements collect all the Korok seeds? Because at one point in time, I'm like, hey, I want to do this. This sounds amazing. I got maybe a quarter of the way through. I'm like, there's no point. I'm not doing this. This makes no sense.
1000%. And that's kind of where some of my hesitation for having this comes from, because it could incentivize people to do stupid things, you know, to have them waste hundreds of hours getting all these otherwise worthless seeds. And it's hilarious because even in that game, the reward is like a giant pile of poo. You know,
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
all it is.
Yeah, was it like were they commenting themselves on how much time you just wasted? You know, which is both like hilarious and also kind of messed up too. And that is what I'm afraid of. That's why I would want it to be optional, because I only want it in experiences where it makes sense, or again for retro games where people already know them like the back of their hand, and it might be fun to incentivize them to, one, replay it, or two, try new things with it. But yeah, like a game like Breath of the Wild where the entire idea is to do whatever you want, I think achievements actively undermines that, and that's why I'm hesitant on it in at least some games. But a game like Mario Kart, you know, whatever, do whatever you want. But yeah, I do worry about damaging the narrative integrity or gameplay integrity of these games. And my example, I think really the thing that really triggered me about this way back in the day, that kind of like broke the idea of achievements for me or trophies, was I was playing Flower on PS3, I think. So this is going a ways back now. Super tranquil game. It's all about like vibes and just enjoying what's in front of you. You know, like it's not, it really just puts you into like that kind of flow state of gameplay. And the moment I beat that first stage, I was feeling really good. Then the freaking stupid trophy pop-up
Ding.
yeah, it just totally took me out of it. It just totally pulled me out of the experience. And that's exactly what I don't want. If Zelda were to incorporate it, I hope that it would be like hidden by default. You know, don't take me out of the experience by kind of essentially breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, looking at back, I know you haven't gone much achievement hunting like I have on Xbox or PlayStation, but the thing I've noticed over time, especially on PlayStation, I can't speak so much on the Xbox side, is that they made the trophies a little bit easier. Especially on the first party side for PlayStation, it used to be like, for example, Uncharted, maybe Uncharted 3 or 4, it might be like, oh, beat the game on easy mode, beat the game on hard mode, beat the game on like expert mode. But the thing is, it's not like how it was in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, where it's like, oh, if you do 150cc, it clears all of that below.
Oh my
you would
God.
have to beat the game. But the thing is, yeah, with Uncharted, it's like you would have to be easy, medium, hard, all separate times. So it's like, do I really want to play this game that many times?
Yeah.
So I think in newer PlayStation games, it's like, oh, just beat the game. I'm like, oh, I'm going to do that anyway. And another thing that I'm afraid of the design of the game is with Nintendo, at least looking a little bit too much into achievements, is if people look ahead at the achievements, because that's sometimes what I do at some games. It's like, even before I start playing the game, I look over the achievement list and then I'm like, oh, can I do this, or should I not actually put my time and effort into getting the achievements? And then as I'm looking through the list, I kind of spoil the game for myself.
Yeah, that's
because
right.
it might be like, hey, do this or meet this character. I'm like, well, I had no idea they were in the game until I looked at the list.
That's a great point. You know, one of my least favorite things for games, I don't have any specific examples, maybe you do, so I don't know what reminded me of this. I hate when they if it's retroactively added to, or not even retroactively, but like a thing that would be an Easter egg normally, maybe it was in the previous version of the game, where they didn't turn that into an achievement. I'm like, no, that takes away from the Easter egg, the fact that, you know, the game doesn't draw attention to itself, right? But now making that just a simple check mark on the list, it like defeats, I don't know, like it kind of takes away from the essence of what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, I think an example of this is, I mean, it's been almost 10 years, probably 9 years since I played Uncharted 4, and I think there might be a trophy for when you play, I mean, spoilers, the game's like 10 years old, when you play Crash Bandicoot, but at least I didn't see that at the time, because the first time I actually got to play that experience, I was jumping up and down. I ran to my brother's room and I woke him up. I'm like, you're not going to believe what's in the game. They got Crash Bandicoot. Like, that was such a big deal. No one saw that coming. But if I look through the trophy list, and like I said, I can't remember if there was a trophy for that or not. Like, that would have just spoiled that experience and that time of me seeing Crash in Uncharted.
Especially because for me, that was my favorite part of the game.
Yeah, it was amazing. No one saw it coming.
That would suck. But yeah, so I think, you know, there is the potential for some negative elements, you know, to come of this. But I think the fact that it's otherwise ingrained in gaming at this point, you know, Steam even has achievements now. They probably have for quite some time. Nintendo is the odd one out, and to their credit, they haven't needed them. They don't need them. But at the same time, I think it has some benefits to having them, and, you know, I can continue to ignore them in most games if I want to. But again, I think it would be really fun for, you know, NSO especially, or future remakes, like adding achievements to F-Zero would be awesome. Like, you know, F-Zero GX, for, like, you know, beat that story mode. Hey, you deserve a stamp for that. That is hard to do.
That's challenging. You know? It's like, yeah, not a lot of people are going to do that. So, yeah, to show that off to your friends, hey, look, here's a Captain Falcon sticker or pin that I got just for beating the story mode. Yeah. That would be awesome.
You can even use them, like, you know, for your profile pictures on Switch, you can choose from, like, different characters and stuff. Yeah, well, you could just make it your, like, the stamp you earned, you know, or whatever. If you can make that your profile pic if you don't want to attach it, or, you know, to your profile. So
Yeah, and this goes back into, like I said, like play time, or looking over your friends list and seeing what they played. Because on the 3DS, we did have that, what was it, like that log? That was one of the apps, like you can actually look through and see how much time you played on your games. But like I said, on the Switch, it's so limited. You only see maybe your past 10 or 20 games, and that's really it. And like I said, when you're clicking on someone else's profile, that's all you're really getting. Yes, there is that trending section on the Switch friend list where you can see like what your friends have been playing. Right. But yeah, you don't get much. I don't know much insight on how much they've actually played the game.
No, and I don't want to spoil upcoming discussions. The whole friend list needs a complete revamp on Switch 2.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly never go there. I actually completely forgot about the trending game feature. That's a good idea poorly implemented, you know?
Yeah.
So I totally agree with you. Is there anything else about an achievement system on Switch 2 that we need to bring up, Nick, or any final thoughts you have about it?
I'm trying to think. I mean, we all know that they're going to do some wacky thing if they do it, right? And I just hope they don't take it in too much of a wacky direction that kind of, I guess, reveres from, like, what I'm doing in the game, right? Like, make it something that's, I guess, organic and natural. Like, I don't want it to be in the next 3D Mario game, like, oh, do, like a million jumps. And I'm like, well, okay, maybe if you beat the story or whatever, the main campaign, maybe you only do like 10,000 jumps, but to do a million, like something that's just so radically out there. Like I said, like something as crazy as the Breath of the Wild getting all the Korok seeds. I'm like, is anyone really going to do that? Maybe one out of like, what, like 50,000 people? I don't even know. Like it's an insane number that not everyone's going to do.
No, yeah, and that's a great point. A lot of game achievements that I've seen, again, I'm not kept up with it, so maybe you'd have a better take on this, seem kind of lazy, you know? Like, you know, some of them you just get purely by playing the game, which, you know, on its own is fine, but if every achievement's like that, that's kind of weak. Although Simpsons game had one of my favorite achievements ever, way back again, to when I used to pay attention, was you would get an achievement for pressing start on the title screen. I'm like, that's funny. I appreciate
that's
that.
funny.
And you know,
and the funny thing is,
sorry.
The funny thing is with that is too, like, if you did it on PlayStation, probably on Xbox too, you can compare your trophies and you can see the percentage of people that actually got it. So it'd be funny to see you boot up the game or you boot up that trophy list and you see how many people actually press start. It might say like 97% of people actually did it.
I love that.
But there's still 3 people that haven't pressed start on the game.
That would be hilarious. And I almost wonder if that's a reason why Nintendo wouldn't do that. I feel like they don't want us to have any transparency in how people actually play their games, you know? Especially because, you know, especially considering Nintendo recently did that weird thing for Mario Day, where they had that million lap goal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right? Like, having, you know, that's a universal goal we're all working toward, and we, you know, to everyone's credit, hey, we made it. But it'd be cool if they did something, you know, like that, you know, tying something in, like, of that nature into the games themselves, or a way in which you can see how people are playing the game, you know?
Yeah, maybe it is a universal thing, like those laps. Maybe it's like, oh, hit a million people with the blue shell in like a certain amount of time.
Right.
It's something as easy as that. It is.
Have you seen those races where people customize it so it's only blue shells in the race? Oh my god. Goodness. Oh, so Nick, what do you think the chances are of this actually happening, though? Of some kind of achievement-like system on a operating system level scale?
So I would say not that likely, honestly. I'm leaning towards like a 25% chance of actually happening. Do I want it to happen? Yes. Like I love trophy hunting on PlayStation. I love playing games and getting all those trophies and kind of saying to my friends like, hey, I got the platinum for Cuphead. Like I don't know how many people have actually done that. It's pretty challenging. But to do that with Switch games, like I said, to go back to older games on the Switch 2 and ones that I love like Breath of the Wild or Mario Odyssey, and to actually see that there's new life given to these games through a trophy system on Nintendo Switch, like I would really want to see that happen. But like I said, I don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately, because I don't think, like you said, Nintendo doesn't want to kind of bog down the audience to kind of, I guess all the things we said we liked about these trophies is like, oh, like I want to check out what my friends are doing, I want to see what they're doing. But yeah, I think it might hinder the way they make games, some games, for the console.
Yeah, it's hard to get a read on Nintendo, obviously, but there is one other point though for why I think it could work to their benefit, because with the Switch 2, you know, narrowing the gap between the other next gen systems, being the PS5 and Series X, and to an extent PC as well, of course. They could probably use every incentive they can get to motivate people to pick up the Switch version or the Switch 2 version, because even though the Switch 2 will obviously be more powerful, we don't quite know exactly how yet, it's still, no matter what, going to fall short in terms of pure horsepower compared to the others. But knowing that there's parity at the least with their achievements and trophies could be that little point that's just people over to the Switch 2 version. It's like okay, I know it won't look quite as good, but at least I can play it anywhere, with the nature of the Switch 2, and I can still get the achievements that I would have gotten on the other systems. But some people really do care about those, and I think it can be a deal breaker, even if it's only for a small percentage of people. So
yeah, double dipping is really a big thing, and I'm guilty of doing it. Like I will double dip on games, but when there's sometimes games that are coming out for either Switch or PlayStation, like for example, like maybe Sonic or Team Sonic Racing was coming out for both. I'm like, okay, let me get it on Switch because I feel like at some point it will come to PS Plus on PlayStation, which I have PS Plus, and then eventually, if I really love the game, then I'll get the trophies on there. But like I said, people will double dip on those third-party games that they've already played on other consoles just to go for the trophies. Like maybe a Final Fantasy VII Remake or maybe an Elden Ring on Switch. It's like, hey, maybe I got the trophies on like a PlayStation platform, but I'm also going to do it on Switch.
Let me tell you, I would double dip for Double Dash if that came out from GameCube. On not quite the same, but I could have skipped that wordplay. But yeah, I think you nailed it. So I think we're both at this point pro having Nintendo introduce something, even if I also agree it's probably unlikely. But you never know. We know they are hiding some. They obviously had to be hiding some things for the Switch 2, and it's possible an achievement system or whatever it ends up being is one of them. Honestly, I think how we've seen them use stamps before, would be the way for them to go, or use those same icons but like as pins or something. I think that'd be a lot of fun, and I'm surprised to hear myself saying this. I kind of do hope it happens, but I'm not gonna be surprised when it doesn't. So
yeah, and I think it's an easy way to kind of showcase to people, hey, this is the Switch 1 game on the Switch 2. Yes, it runs better, but also here's our Nintendo touch to it. Here are trophies or achievements or stickers.
Again, especially if they retroactively add them to Switch 1 games or NSO games, I think that could be a really compelling reason to replay those games and give those older games more value on Switch 2, again, providing incentive to upgrade. So, well, on that note, everyone, I think we've covered as much as we can about this supposed, or hopefully, achievement/stamp system on Switch 2. We'll see. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Do you think it could happen? Do you even want it to happen? Are you like previous me, where you were a hater, or have you kind of come around a little bit? Or are you like Nick, where you've been on board the entire time? Let us know in the comments below. And speaking of you, Nick, where can people follow you at?
Yeah, so you can check out my shorts here on the channel, but I also post on my own channel, which is Steftendo, Steftendo. So if you want more content from Nintendo stuff, you can go over there.
And we'll link to that in the description below, so definitely check out Nick's channel. And of course, stay tuned to GameXplain here as we continue our 10-day countdown to the Switch 2 with a new feature every day. Again, we have some surprise guests coming up. It should be a lot of fun. And stay tuned as well for some more exciting news, I hope, tomorrow on the channel that I can't wait to discuss with all of you. So there, everyone, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more Switch 2 features as we head into day 9 of our countdown. Bye, everyone.